Welcome to the SweatSimple Podcast. I'm Brooks, and I'm an online fitness, nutrition, and mindset coach who's here to help you learn how to eat and exercise for real life, not just those perfect moments. Because let's be real, there is a lot of conflicting information online, and it can be hard to know what's legit and who to trust. In every episode, I'll be sharing the science and psychology behind health, fitness, and long-lasting behavior change, but I'll also be sharing practical, real-life application because all of the best info in the world only matters if you can apply it to your real life. So grab a coffee, water, glass of wine, or lace up your walking shoes, and let's dive in. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the SweatSimple Podcast. Today, we are talking all about what to do when your routine falls apart. Because I know a lot of you are my type A girls. You thrive on routine. That is me. I love a routine. You like your weekly meal prep. You like your planning. You like your gym schedule. You like having all your little snacks planned out. So when you fall out of this routine, it can feel really hard to keep up these healthy habits. And first, I do want to share something around these larger times when we fall out of our routine. So let's say we get a new job, or we're moving, or we're going through a breakup. Those big life changes, that I know is when it can feel really daunting to keep up with some of these habits, or even be focusing on health and fitness habits. And there's actually something really cool. It's called habit discontinuity. And it's the idea actually that when we are going through these big life changes, that's actually the best time to build a new habit. And the reason being is that typically in our day-to-day life, most of what we do, over 50%, is a true habit, which means that it's happening very automatically. And you can probably relate to that. You get up in the morning, you go and turn your coffee on, and then you feed your dog, and then you drink your coffee, and you've done a bunch of tiny little things without even thinking about it. Which is why when we're trying to add something new into that routine, that I'm actually going to drink water before coffee, we keep forgetting, and it can feel really hard to do because so much of what we do in our day-to-day life is very automatic. So when we have these natural big disruptions, I just had a kid, or I'm starting a new job, I have a commute now, our normal typical routine is going to be broken up. So we're going to be thrown off of autopilot automatically. So this is actually a really good time to build some new habits. So if you are dealing with that right now, I do have another podcast episode all about that specifically, when we're going through these big life changes, what that might look like. So I'll link that in the show notes so you guys can go ahead and listen to that. But this episode, we're going to be talking a little bit less about those big life changes and more about just those small moments when we can't perfectly rely on our routines. When we're traveling, when we're sick, when we have extra busy work weeks, when we have our weekends with a million kids sporting events, the more day-to-day stuff that requires us to not, or that doesn't allow us to perfectly follow these plans. Like I said, I love a routine, but if we keep trying to rely solely on perfect routines, fat loss is going to be hard because of all those reasons I just mentioned. There are so many times where we are going to get kicked out of our normal routine, when we won't be able to perfectly follow the plan to a T, because we do need to travel, because our kids got sick, because we are feeling extra stressed at work, or we have all of these meetings that are running late, because all of a sudden you have to run to CVS and make a poster board project with your kid at 8 p.m., whatever it might be. There are all of these tiny life moments that are going to kick us off of our normal routine and out of our normal planning process. So instead of throwing in the towel every single time that we can't perfectly follow this routine, something I want you to think about in these moments is, what do you like about the routine? What is the value, or what is the benefit you are getting from it? So maybe it's that when you go for a walk in the morning, you feel less stressed and more calm. So that's why your morning walk is really important to you, because it kind of sets the tone for your day and it allows you to take that time for yourself. Or maybe you notice that when you go to the gym, you have more energy. So that is why it's part of your routine, because you really like that feeling of starting the day with having more energy, having that energy burst. Or maybe you notice that when you eat three home cooked meals for the day that have protein in them, that's when you're not snacking all day. So yeah, that is why like planning your meals and prepping your meals and eating your meal prep is part of your routine, because you know that when you have protein in all of your meals and you're eating 3 meals a day, you don't turn to snacks. Or maybe you notice that when you don't have a bunch of sugar, you don't feel sick to your stomach all day. Like, there are reasons that we do these routines. And yes, on the surface right now, some of it might be because you're trying to lose fat, and that maybe is like a big driver for a lot of these things. But I bet if you sit and think about it, there's also an underlying benefit. There's some sort of additional benefit outside of just fat loss that you're getting from these behaviors, that you're getting from some of these routines that you've created. So really think about those deeper feelings. Really think about those benefits, because these are the things that we want to hold on to even during the time when our routine is being disrupted. So it's not necessarily about perfectly sticking to and following this routine. Instead, I want you to think about replicating this feeling. So first, out of, again, like we have you might have a million different things that are part of your routine. And during these busy weeks, we might have to let something go. We might not be able to keep up with the walk and the workout and the meal prepping and the avoidance of sugar and cooking every single dinner at home. Like, we might have to let one of those things go. So after you've kind of reflected and said, okay, this is what I really like about my routine, this is what I really like about each of these behaviors, I want you to think about which of these feelings is most important to you. So is it most important to you to feel less stressed and calm starting your day? Is it most important to you to have more energy? If so, then okay, we got to make sure we're getting to the gym in the morning. Is it most important to you to not snack all day and feel full? Okay, then we got to make sure that our meals have protein in them. Whichever one of these feelings is most important to you, that is the routine, that is the behavior, the part of your routine that we need to prioritize. And if we can't do that thing exactly, how could we still replicate this same feeling? So maybe we don't have time in the morning for our usual 30-minute walk. Okay, how could we replicate that feeling? Could we get out for 10 minutes? Could we do a breathing exercise to start the day feeling calm? Like, really think about, if we can't do the exact same things, how could we just replicate them? So that is where I want you to start, is not perfectly trying to follow this routine every single week, but really think about, in those busy moments, what is the most important feeling? What is the most important way that we want to feel and we want to keep up with this week? And the bonus is that by keeping these habits up in some way, you're going to continue to build momentum. So we're not going to be starting over, trying to regain momentum, getting into the start-stop cycle. Instead, you get to just continue on. Like, think about how hard it is to get to the gym again after you've had 3 weeks off versus how much easier it would be if you had shown up for 10 minutes or, did a home workout 3 times a week over the last 3 weeks. It's going to feel much easier because you're going to feel like you're continuing on as opposed to just starting over. And if you listen to that last week's episode, this is that same concept of, we're getting in the reps. How can you show up in some way? How can we just get in as many reps as we can, even when those reps aren't looking perfect? So your application assignment this week is to shoot me a DM on Instagram, sweat.simple. Let me know if you're going to be out of your routine, and let me know one thing you're going to do to keep up the momentum and continue this feeling. All right, that's all I've got for you guys this week. If you have any questions, shoot me a DM. Let me know. I can't wait to chat with you again in a couple of weeks.